What's going on, everybody? You know me. I'm Chillmonger, and it's time. It's that Vader entrance. I got the Black Panther issue number 5, Legacy issue 217 variant cover. This is a character who I guess doesn't exist, right? We got we got the Chris Allen. I guess he's not part of the interiors, and he's part of the cover art. And you got a cool little cover there, the 1 in 25 variant with the seeming to glow eyes. I saw Mark and Paul were talking about that on Black Comic Lords, where the eyes look like it glowed on the. Yes, D-Real.
Cover arts by Torrin Clark.
Did I get that wrong?
You said
the main cover.
Yes, that cover right there.
That is the Torrin Clark cover.
Yes,
right there. You noticed that Chris Allen isn't on the comic. That has a lot to do with my worries. I'm worried this comic book gets canceled, and I'm noticing things like Jesus Abertov, who's a colorist of name recognition, who's been pulled from this. I noticed Chris Allen, who is branded as Stormbreaker. Well, he's pulled from this. It's Mike Chater. And Chris Allen isn't doing next month's or the next month's. That cost cutting means to me this comic's getting canceled next year.
I thought I saw the covers of issue 6 and 7 on the Marvel.com website, and it did in fact say Chris Allen was doing art.
The insides?
So, I don't know if it's inside, but he's still involved.
I got a computer in front of me.
Yes, by all means, mon frere.
Make sure you got all them special tabs closed.
Here it's got Mack Chater as the artist. And I'm looking at issue number 6, okay? And then I loaded the next issue, which is issue 7, and the artist is Mack Chater, and a penciler is Chris Allen. But why is Mack Chater here and Prince? I don't get it. I don't know.
Hey, I'm just saying, bro.
So you think that Christopher being gone is a portent of something negative to come?
It is a cost-cutting effort. This is no longer the high seller we thought it would be. The pre-sales information are in. We're at issue number 5. And get ready for this comic book to be canceled out of disinterest or low sales, we'll just put it that way. I've seen this happen with a lot of other comic book characters, and it's like the first step. Daniel Acuna was pulled from my boy, Ta-Nehisi Coates' Black Panther, right? Well, because the sales didn't warrant keeping him. Yeah, and they pulled the artist, right? I'm just trying to say that it was when the sales got low. We had Comic-Con back then. Now when I look at the Comic-Con information, and maybe I'll do a whole video talking about this, so just hold off before you retorts. I can show you evidence that this is a lower than 20,000 sales. And back in the days, if a comic sale got to about 10,000, like for example, Ironheart, which was canceled, right around 9,000, they know when a comic isn't worth printing anymore, and we're getting close to that point. Make him the king, make the fans. We don't have enough time. I'm just saying, and that's how I'm reading Mack Chater. And Chris Allen may have like a personal problem that's occupying his time, and that's why Mack Chater is here, not Chris Allen. And Chillmonger may be completely wrong. Chill's worried.
Okay, so I understand. For those who are watching who may not understand what he's saying is what you just said is a cost-cutting measure. I guess Chris Allen has a certain price point that he charges to do this, and Mack Chater's may very well be less than that. So instead of investing Chris Allen money, you get Max on there, so it won't cost as much to produce it because the sales are not where you think that they should be.
The colorist also, because Jesus Abertov is a name, and now he's not here anymore. Now the color artist is Andrew Dalhouse.
Well, can I say, just before we get into it, I love this art, and I think I may very well have liked this art more than issues 1 through 4. I like it a lot, so that's just me.
Let's take a vote. D-Real, do you like the artwork here?
I think the art is great, actually. It didn't. You have to really look to see it's a different artist.
Slevin?
I have no problems with it. Good art is good art.
And then Theo, how you feel about the artwork here from Mack Chater and from Andrew Dalhouse?
One artist gave me female Hattutsiraze in issue 1. The artist in issue 5 gave me a whole bunch of Hattutsiraze, not one female.
Well, they introduced the concept of trans characters just a issue ago. It is possible that Hatud Zaraze, once upon a time, what
You asked me a question. I just gave you my answer. I like the artist that respected the tradition of the Hatu Zaraze and drew all men, not the one who in issue 1 put his own take on it.
there it is.
Of course.
I
So
agree.
it's the current artist.
Yeah, Max knocked it out of the park. When Paul and I did our thing on Black Comic Lords on Friday, and we were talking about it, you know, I'm notorious for not paying attention to the creators behind the work, and I need to get better at that. Shout out to that individual. I don't know, you know, as you guys know, if you've watched us here for any length of time, I'm not up on artists and their previous works like I should be, but I'm really digging the art in this, and the story makes sense. I say it all the time, but I typically just pop it open and just go full in on the story. Even if I like it or don't like it, I typically don't pay attention. But on this particular issue, the minute I popped it open, I was able to tell that it was different, and I do like it a lot in comparison to issues 1 through 4. So I think Max being on this book is a very good thing.
Well, we got this beautiful. What do you call those totems behind him? Are they totems?
Sculptures, totems.
Sculptures. It says it's a sculpture park. They're sculptures.
Yeah.
Damn, do I feel stupid? So we got these sculptures up here, which
I
look.
said totem.
You would have said totem?
No, I said this guy said totem.
I didn't freeze. I'm just glaring at you.
No, I know you are. It's okay. You can go as long as you want.
Kaizuku Slevin, he's got the June 2020 black square. I have nothing against him. I can't.
Nope.
Hey, I'll send you a Juneteenth flag if you want one, Kaizuku.
You can do that and upload it to Streamlabs and let me know what happens.
Bet.
This issue had beautiful artwork, guns being used. T'Challa says a word here that says that this is my responsibility. Him taking ownership of this, even though he is not the king anymore and not officially anything, and he's taking responsibility. And I love that character moment that Dr. Ewing put there.
Can we go back to the first page? And this is something that Paul picked up on that I hadn't.
Foreigners.
Going down, the image below that one, you have a character who's been introduced who has some Secret Service type dudes next to her. And one of the things that we have liked about the book previously is that a nation that has never been conquered or invaded has had what we would probably consider traditional African garb. In this particular image, the two Secret Service type guys, they're wearing European cut suits. And that's something that Paul paid attention to that he didn't necessarily like. Also, the one that you do have, if you want to pull that up, something that, you know, was not common for Wakanda. And you've got tourists on the page before that. These are tourists in Wakanda. And I don't think that we've ever seen that before. Wakanda was never invaded militarily, but it seems like they're being invaded economically for having a tourist or tourism trade. And there's nothing wrong with nations having tourism, but it's very interesting that they have opened themselves up to this point that you've got people from different countries in the world coming in, you know, leaving reviews on TripAdvisor. So that's something that's very interesting and new that Dr. Ewing is doing.
It could be that Folashade invited this. What is it?
Yeah, boy.
One of the things that they've been talking about, and I talked about it in my review and everything like that. Going back to the first issue, there isn't really Wakanda's under new government, but Wakanda doesn't know how she feels about being under new government. Shuri plays a role in this issue again. She talks about how the only time she can get privacy is basically when she's by herself. So the tourists hey, Dr. Ewing, hey, how you doing? Because they write the European garb, that's not going to work. So if we could write this into the future where this is in influence based on what Folasade is doing, thank you so much, my brother Cliff Chillmonger. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, just like wrap that up in a nice little bow so we can not do this no more.
Two things.
Let's write that in. Hey.
Wakanda is an African nation. I don't see trans Hatut Zaraze or Dora Milaje. That is a Western take being interjected. Wakanda is being a Disney theme park. Two things. There's Kamala Khan's friend Bruno did a student exchange program where he went over to Wakanda. This comic was written maybe 5 years ago where this all happened. And so there is even before Folashade, there's been that where others and outsiders have been allowed inside. I remember every outsider was kicked out during the Desturi kind of takeover with those nationalists. They were all booted. There was like one little line explaining that in a word balloon. The foreigners aren't foreign.
Yeah, in that Captain America run, that was true when Wakanda had opened itself up. Now, had this run started, or were we still on the previous run when that was going on, and Wakanda had in fact opened itself up to members of the diaspora to come home and say, hey, you now have citizenship or a visa at least or whatever. So yes, that is true. But these were black folks, Europeanized black folks, yes.
Joe granted some asylum.
Who? Asylum?
Civil War, anyone?
Like, am I the only one not knowing that these folks are xenophobic? Like, they don't really like,
There is that, and that's why they were really mad at Gentle. Remember when Gentle had a Russian father, and they looked at him sideways? It wasn't that he was a mutant; it was that reason. And another thing to add to this, Besa's from Mohanda. Remember in that issue? So now with Besa being from Mohanda, that's a foreigner also that was introduced here. At the whole border thing with Wakandans being xenophobic, true, but the borders are open, and it's something that T'Challa executed or initially. I think when he joined the Avengers, I think that was when this all got started. You older heads would know before I do.
But here's the thing, though. I don't ever recall during Priest run or Hudlin's run a time when you had Europeans coming around in Wakanda being tourists. Whenever anybody was in town or in the nation, it was a superhero who was, going to meet with T'Challa or fighting, who was specifically invited in, like the Fantastic Four or something. Never really a tourist trade situation that I recall.
Well, I think technically, since now we're being able to see more of the entire nation, majority of the time that we see anything associated with Wakanda has to do with the capital city.
Yes.
So I think we might not be able to see what goes on the outskirts, unlike other cities. So maybe there were some tourism going on in the other areas.
But here's what's interesting about that, though. But you would think that based on them being open, if any place is going to be a tourist trap, it would be the capital. Look at Washington D.C. So
true, that is true. But being an isolationist, I think they would take more precaution with their headquarters, like where the king resides.
This is something new for Dr. Eve's run, that she's opened the nation up more so under this government than it has been previously. That's what I think.
Well, I mean, what have we had in the past since 2022? Buddy taking butt whoopers left and right.
There's no need. Listen,
I'm just saying, like,
don't do that.
I'm just saying, like, in regards to Wakanda, the state of Wakanda, Hunter is in Wakanda, in America. Sam opened that they didn't partnership deal. Folks can move to Wakanda now and everything like that. Well, damn it, the hot tooth Zalaze is spread to the winds, the Dora Milaje, we don't know where they at. Yes, we do. In Jabari lands. And then you got a new government and everything, but we still got a galactic empire over here and everything like that, and that ain't been resolved. It's just a lot going on. It is. I'm just saying. And so to Kaiser Cole's point, damn it, do we really know what's going on with the hell with Wakanda right now? Like, other than the fact that T'Challa's there.
No.
He's there.
Really the past, since 2022, this clearly, it's been some drastic changes going on, and we ain't been notified all of them, made aware. So
Nikisu, Alanga, they're fighting each other on the streets, and it's getting pretty violent. We know that there's some undercover Hatuzaraze, or they're under the paycheck of the Nikisu family. Did I get that right? Nikisu or Alanga? Which one were they with?
They're under the paycheck of the Ikisu.
Both, if I'm not mistaken.
Family, the Alanga family.
Both, if I'm not mistaken, because they come into a room and they're like, "Hey, you're this." No, you're that.
Yeah.
So,
Mommy Alanga, the Alanga family.
Well, good. I hope they all kill each other off because of what they did.
Mama Ilonga. Can I just say that off top? I really dig Mama Ilonga.
Facts.
I'm Team Baba
She's
Nakusa.
giving energy, man.
She reminds me of oh my God, what's the name of that movie?
Color
An
Purple?
old version now. The old people gonna know when I drop this. She reminds me of an older version of Nichelle Nichols in Truck Turner.
You're wrong as hell for that one, but go ahead.
Wasn't she a madam?
She was the bottom B. Go to YouTube and go to the scene where Nichelle Nichols is getting all of the
Women,
females in line, and
I think
how
I've
she
seen
talks,
that scene.
how
I
she
think I've
talks
seen
on Star Trek. You're like, who is this woman? What is she saying?
Nichelle Nichols is Lieutenant Uhura from Star Trek, the original series.
Yeah,
For those who don't know.
And she's
R.I.P.
totally
to her.
gangster. She's totally gangster in Truck Turner.
And old girl did not do her any justice in that red uniform.
Truck Turner is cinematic gold.
I agree. Come on, y'all. I agree.
We get a double-page spread of T'Challa kicking butt. No answers about. He even has words that are nice. He goes, "I'm afraid you all have more greed than wisdom," and he's just ass kicking. It was beautiful to look at, and it's a reminder that this is a comic book about Black Panther, featuring Black Panther doing Black Panther things.
This is who T'Challa is. This is what he does. He's sitting up here taking on at least 6, maybe upwards of 8 assailants with no problem, because he typically is the biggest, baddest in the room, even when he's in a room with the Hulk and Thor. What we saw previously, more recently, was not T'Challa. This is T'Challa. Shout out to Ewing and her artistic team for bringing him back to what he's supposed to be, because he has not been that over the past year.
If you ask Theo, this was directly in response to the Hattusaraze the last time, how they got the one up over T'Challa.
Man, listen, I told you, he didn't beat up twice as many Hattusaraze over 5 issues than. Yes, that balls. Thank you. Thank you. No, none of this jive foolishness and everything like that. What's my boy name? Not that. What was the bald headed brother name? They got killed too. Achille. Yeah, none of that. None. Ain't none of them putting hands on this dude. So I'm glad we putting some respect on his name. Thank you. He ain't. Who didn't hit him in 5 issues?
Let's go for 6. T'Challa says
I like what he says to the Hattus after he kicks their asses and tells them, look here.
I got it right here.
Yeah, y'all. I find it ironic. You know what I'm saying? You who pledged yourself to the crown are fighting amongst yourselves. It's like, man, y'all lucky I don't kill y'all.
So an amazing scripting.
Chill. I'm gonna say we're gonna go a little further. But I remember you asking the question before, like, cause her daughter, Cassinda, granddaughter, is like, that ain't him. And I'm like, for this dude to whoop their ass, tell them to go talk to their master, tell them it's the ceasefire is here. He ain't say go ask for nothing. Go tell your bosses it's a ceasefire. They had to convince their bosses that this the real dude. Well, this dude that trained us, this ass whooping is for me. I done got whooped like this quite a few times, and it's only one dude that done whooped my ass like this. I know the costume look different. That's T'Challa. He say ceasefire. I ain't finna do that with him.
Do y'all think his costume distorts his voice?
I guess I do now.
Probably.
It's got to.
Yeah.
Now, when they say that's not the Black Panther, they didn't say that's not T'Challa. They said that's not the Black Panther. That could mean that off in the capital city, there's an official Black Panther that is sanctioned, that is a real Black Panther according to the government and Folashade.
I doubt it.
I do too. I do too. It's a theory.
Yeah.
But now, would you like it, Slevin, or would you be against it if that happened, or would you say, okay, yeah, now a person to fight? How would you take it?
I'm kind of indifferent, because in general, you don't have to be on the crown to be Black Panther, because Black Panther T'Challa in general has been Black Panther outside of the nation, while his sister was the Black Panther of the nation. So it doesn't really surprise me that, there would be another Black Panther in the capital city that's running things. But at the same time, if we're going to be focusing on T'Challa right here, and, you know, I think we're like ATL Blurred said, we're going back to what the franchise is about. This is about T'Challa's story being the Black Panther. So if we just focus on that, it doesn't even really matter if there's another Black Panther elsewhere, because it's all about the proximity of what's in T'Challa's atmosphere.
We're getting to that other Black Panther in issue 11 if we're not canceled.
The reason why I was laughing or smiling when he was talking is because it reminds me of one of the first Black Panther run, Volume 1. And these are characters who we've never seen again. But as we all know, after T'Challa fought with the Fantastic Four, he went to America, joined the Avengers ostensibly to spy on them. While he was gone, though, or while he was doing other things, there are 4 members of his family who were back in Wakanda, in the capital city, kind of handling things. And they were known as the Black Musketeers. So if you pull up issue number 9 of Volume 1 of Black Panther, you will see them. It was like an old guy who was like a banker or a financial guy, a woman, a doctor, a medical doctor, and somebody else. I don't remember.
I think a couple of them are his cousins.
Yeah, they were part of the royal family.
Yeah.
Now I don't know, and I don't recall, having not read this in some time, if they had the heart-shaped herb in their system, but they were all cousins and relatives, none of whom have been seen again to this day that I'm aware of, because this book came out in 1977. So in the intervening 47, 46 years, nothing has been done about them. But I say all that to say, even if T'Challa or whoever has the quote-unquote mantle of Black Panther isn't in the capital city or the nation, there have been other individuals, members of his family, who have been there as protector of Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Marcus, is that your favorite Black Panther run?
Mark, is that your favorite Black Panther run?
No. I know it's not. I know it's not. That's why.
No, my favorite Black Panther run is is Reginald Hudlin, followed very closely by Jungle Action. That counts as a run. For a lot of people don't know, but Jungle Action came before Volume 1 of Black Panther. So
Jungle Action is that run.
Yeah. Jungle Action is that run. As an aside, as a quick aside, Dragon Con happens here in Atlanta every Labor Day weekend. There's always a parade that Saturday. I saw the great Don McGregor was part of the...
Don't repeat your stories. No, they got to go to Black Comic Lords to see you finish this story. No, we do original content here.
Yeah.
Hey, Les, you
but
had me
basically,
at
Don McGregor
you had
was
me
here.
at Don McGregor. You had me at Don McGregor.
I saw Don McGregor in person.
We go to the Ilonga compound, where we're reintroduced to characters we've seen prior, which is Woro and Kashinda. I don't care about these 2 characters. Which of the 5 of us care the most about these 2? Because I don't see them sticking like Tosin doesn't stick.
Grandma in one issue done blew them out the water. I don't care what they talking about. I'm like, what Grandma doing?
Yeah. Now that I know who the head is, that's who I care about.
Yeah. And she done backhanded somebody.
I think they're trying to build them up.
Hey, again, Truck Turner.
I think they're trying to build them up, even though that we do know who is the head of the family. I think they're trying to build them up because it seems like they have their ulterior motives. So just like the sister, even though she told her what to do during the ceasefire, she decided to do something else at the end of the run. So I think it's a build up to seeing if people will like those characters, or maybe they have other plans for them.
And see, I guess I got my answer of you being the one of the 5 of us who cares more about these. I think when we're introducing new characters all the time, including Kivu'Ma towards the ending. And every time you do introduce a new character, the Woro and Kashinda characters go just a little bit lower. And now if we think about Besa, we think about Niobe, and we think about, well, of course, Shuri's always there, right? We think about the supporting characters like Baba Nikisu and Mama Ilonga. Okay, you're in 6th and 7th place right now. And I'm just not going to, offer you that same care. Hello, Eric. And a backhand is so disrespectful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not saying they're important. I'm just saying I think I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to give them more development so that people will actually care about them. But we'll see in the next issues if they have any kind of spotlight.
I have a question. How do you guys feel about how T'Challa is drawn in this issue? I don't have a problem with it. And I only mention that is because during the Coates run, the way he was portrayed, I didn't like it at all. He didn't look like the T'Challa that I've come to know and love. Like during the Hudlin run is one of my during the Hudlin run and during the Jungle Action run and the Avengers, I guess, of that time period. The way T'Challa was drawn, I liked. I did not like the way he was drawn during the Priest run because he looked like Shaft. You know, he had as much hair as D-Real, all due respect. You know what I'm saying? He had the bald head and the goatee. He looked like Sam
like
Jackson.
Bald head T'Challa. What's wrong with bald head
I'm
T'Challa?
sure you do, D-Real. Bless your heart. I'm sure you do. But personally, you know, I'm used to him having the little short fluff, the little short fluff.
So no locks for T'Challa? None?
No.
Nah, there's no history to that, so it was weird.
It was a joke.
Yeah. But I think his visage suits him, especially since he's quote unquote exiled.
Yeah.
You know, he's growing out the beard, he's forming his own identity. I kind of like this run because it reminds me of the Man Without Fear one, where he's actually like embodying who he is as a person again, instead of talking about the crown all the time, even though he cares about Wakanda.
Right.
Everything that he does is for Wakanda, but at the same time, he's taking ownership of his own self.
The Man Without Fear is a good example of how you can quote unquote deconstruct a character without disrespecting him. And that's something a previous writer does not understand.
Facts.
He still need to be made an answer for that one. That's one of the things that like he don't get to go on no talk circuit, no talk junket, no book tours, no book signing. He show up anywhere where a Black Panther fan show up and they read his work. No, bro, you got to answer for that one.
Yeah.
We need bald head representation too.
No, we don't, Eric. No, we don't.
Yeah, we do, Eric. Yeah, we do.
We had Shaft and we had Kojak. That's all you need.
No, we don't. No, we don't. No,
we got all the Dora Milaje.
And the Dora Milaje. Yeah, Captain Picard. Captain Picard is your representation.
Listen.
Sweet Christmas.
No, bald heads, y'all get all the action figures. No, I'm tired of y'all.
My ideal T'Challa haircut is what he's got here, where it's like a number 3.
Right.
He's very Chadwick Boseman looking.
And well, Chadwick Boseman is looking like T'Challa, right? That's why he grew his hair to where he grew it in the second movie. So Civil War
I like how you worded that.
Yeah. Civil War has him just a day before Black Panther starts, because before his dad dies, right? So we see his haircut in Civil War is nice and short, and there's an inconsistency where his hair is not much, but it's larger. The hair length is going larger in just one day. So that I noticed that, and I said that on a video once upon a time. I'm saying it again here on T'Challa Time number 5. Nice. We have Jada Pinkett too. You better. the conversations here.
Out your mouth.
Shuri and T'Challa have a conversation now. Remember,
Eric.
So way back, maybe a couple issues ago, Shuri was like, "Hey, I'm only going to be able to come and do these communications with you scarcely." So she got in here and she discussed to him like, "Yo, give me a heads up. What's going on with the ceasefire?" It says a few days later has passed, so the time skip has happened. When a few days later pass, I think, why do they do that? Why in comic books do we say that? Is to say that whoever was injured has now healed up to 100%? Why did they say that? I don't know why, because in comics time is not supposed to move. So for you to say that a few days later have passed, it must be for an important storyline reason.
I don't necessarily.
Maybe it's just to give some relevance to how long the ceasefire has been. It's a few days.
Yeah.
The scene before this, we get him before we go to Mama Ilonga. T'Challa then beat up the Hattusilize. You go tell Mama Ilonga and Baba Nikisu, y'all got a ceasefire. So I think it serves to give us a time frame, because right during that, where it says a few days later, Shuri is asking him, how long do you think it's gonna last? You know what I'm saying? I think he says was a few more hours or 24 hours or something like that. And then we spin that story forward even to when we get to Baba Nigisu, where he questioned once again about the length of time frame that's left with the ceasefire. So I'm thinking that's what it was. It just served a purpose to give us the length of time for the ceasefire.
Okay.
I also think it highlights the amount of time that T'Challa was given to rest, because
Right.
it
That's
seems
what I
like
was
he was
saying.
always on the action, always going, and never had time for himself. It's kind of like, weirdly to say, kind of like how Batman never really takes a break, and Alfred has to come in and be like, "You need to sleep." So it's kind of like Shorty is coming in and be like, "Hey, how you doing? How's the ceasefire going?" Maybe she's checking up on him, on his mental issues, and pretty much giving himself some time, to himself.
So we're getting across a sibling compassion from the writer.
Right.
And now, Kimoyo Kid, do you feel T'Challa has been depicted consistently as far as muscle mass and height? I'm not the one to ask this guy. Ask one of the old timers. Old timers?
Well, first off, I take
See,
offense at the phrase
you can't
old
talk.
time.
You
So
can't
let's
answer
start
that.
there. But I would say, as far as his physical structure is concerned, yes, I would say he's typically portrayed probably like around 6'1", 6'2", probably about 220, 225. Again, I just didn't like the way his face was drawn during the Colts run, but other than that, he seemed to be basically about the same.
I didn't like the way his face was drawn during the other dude's run because it was always lumped up, bruised up,
That too. That too.
Oh yeah. Hey, as I'm flipping through this page, we get the ultimate advertisement. Be ready for Ultimate Universe T'Challa to be the T'Child.
Quick before you touch on that,
Okay.
we alluded to it last night and everything, where Miss Ewing, his power set technologically and physically, he's using his Kimoyo beads, looking at the cell phone or whatever, and it says no signs of a struggle, no one else's DNA or set or presence in this space. Like, he went through all his senses to determine that nobody else was in this room. And that's something else we didn't get in the previous run.
So, the senses. Right.
So you mentioned the Ultimate Universe. I don't recall T'Challa ever being in any of the Ultimate Universe books, or did I miss it or just not remembering it?
Captain America.
Okay.
T'Challa was in the Ultimate Universe. T'Challa was actually a mutant.
In the 4-book series, he only showed up in issue 1.
And I'm not saying there's going to be
and
ultimate...
I think he was part of that universe's Weapon X program, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, see, they can do whatever they want, and that's the point of the Ultimate Universe. Just to close that topic, the T'Child will be the Black Panther. It doesn't mean there's going to be a book series called Ultimate Black Panther. It just means like he'll pop up in the Ultimate FF or in Ultimate Spider-Man. You'll see that. Back to Niobe with the bow tie that we all love, which is a culture that is not of his.
Right.
He tells him about Baba Nikisu, but he's also still, I don't know, apprehensive about giving information.
Yeah, he didn't tell him nothing. He told him stop asking him again.
I understood why by the time we got to the last page.
Yeah, hey, don't ask me about that.
Won't talk like that around here. Shankar probably done told him, hey, I messed around and did that once myself. Don't do that.
So basically, the Kivu'Ma is the Voldemort of this of Wakanda.
And then these words he says here: very little that occurs within Wakanda is ever happening only on this plane. You should know. You should know, T'Challa. There's an ancestral plane. And so it didn't register with me, right? I didn't think that this was going to be some sort of ghostly figure, but there's so much, and there's reread value when I reread this. There's so much in this comic book packed into 20 pages that we can appreciate the second time around.
Yeah.
This entity kind of reminds me of what's that? That's that deity's name that they were fighting. Sifako. Kind of like, they kind of like forgot about, like, this is one of those godly entities that Wakandans kind of forgot about, like, is in the background, and then they come back to resurface or something like that. That's what it kind of reminds me of.
It's kind of like it's stuck between superstition and reality, because that's kind of big in our culture. It's some stuff you just not gonna talk about. Like, we can know it. Yeah, we're joking, laughing, kind of like dismiss it, but you're not gonna entertain it because you thinking to yourself, no, that could be very much a real thing. So
it's like saying Bloody Mary in America.
Yeah,
you know nothing's gonna happen, but you don't want to risk it.
That's the vibe. Yes, that's the vibe.
On a whole other level with this one.
Yeah,
because I'm thinking that, well, people can say what they want to. I don't even use that chick's name because I didn't even think that was funny. But in this particular culture, I'm getting that his name is really not to be spoken. Whispered, maybe. But don't.
But Western, that's a Western. Again, we play around with the Bloody Mary. We play around with the Candyman. Wakanda, they like, we ain't even playing with that. Don't even talking about that.
Here's the thing, though. You would think that T'Challa would know about that, though. So that's what's somewhat surprising, is that being, in comic book time, I would say that T'Challa has probably been in charge of Wakanda between 15 and 25 years. Would that sound about right? Right.
And think about it now. We're in Benin T'Chaka.
Right.
And a lot of what goes on in Benin T'Chaka ain't the Golden City.
Right.
So,
it's
a little more, it's a little less
unique to that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So those kinds of things that circulate in the hood,
Gotcha.
you know what I'm saying? But they don't circulate in the Golden City.
Even if he's been in charge of
I think there's been some groundwork laid in Black Panther Unconquered. There's a story in here in which he has to meet with the elder and everything like that. What I'm saying is, and I think it's been written before, T'Challa ain't really in touch with the spiritual side of Wakanda like he should.
Zaravari
is. And if I'm not mistaken, even when he just recently went off in space, I think Black Panther Wakanda Voices Forever, the old ways and everything like that, he has to commune with Zaravari. Like, there's still a lot he needs to get caught up on in regard, him and Shooty both, in regards to the
mystical.
The mystical, the spirituality of Wakanda. All they know by and large is Bass.
And I'm okay with that. I mean, he doesn't have to be a know-it-all in everything. There's going to be a field he's not with, and then he can deliberate to the other people there who are into the magical.
We're used to T'Challa knowing everything.
Everything, right? Like, you would expect Batman not to know something in around Gotham. So even
you mentioned Batman a lot.
Yeah.
Batman need to go regrow his right hand right now. He got other problems.
I kind of made sorry about that. I think the run, I just thought about it. It was when they were fighting Adversary, where he brought back like the old entities that used to inhabit Wakanda that people forgot about, and then like the Orisas got like erased or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of reminds me of what Kivu'Ma is like. Like they're bringing back entities that were associated with Wakanda that people don't want to bring up, or like, they try to forget about them, but they're still here. If you mention them, they'll come back, type of deal.
So the two bosses of the family speak to each other in a conversation, and they're supposed to be these big enemies, and the fact that they're talking is upsetting to me. I don't like that. Does anyone have a problem with that, or do they think that's what you do?
I think that was his sister. I don't believe that was.
Yeah, I don't think that.
Yeah, that's his sister.
That's longer. That's his sister. Her daughter almost got killed by Deathlock.
Right.
So
oh, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to read it 2-3 times myself to get some clarification on that.
So. I did too, and the reason I did get clarification was because she had like the headscarf stuff, and I rewinded back to like the earlier pages where over here in yellow.
Yeah, Grandma rocking yellow.
Yeah, but this
and even though that's a hologram, that headdress does not look yellow.
Yeah,
right. Okay, sorry for that.
Yeah, and that lady looks younger.
Yeah,
the hologram, she looks younger.
We get a note here, and we know that Kashinda was the one who do this, right? You want out? You want to be clean? Get out. Yield your territory and sleep soundly on the bed of your riches. That request is not going to be honored. We know that much.
She was poking the bear, and I don't know why.
She said, I want to be a main character. Character number 6 isn't enough for me. I'm climbing the ranks.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. The way she's drawn, she's kind of fine.
This is the point of the comic where I go, remember, Black Panther is the head, and let's not use so much page and valuable resources on these not Black Panther characters. I'd rather have that conversation with Shuri go longer instead of getting like 5 panels.
Yeah.
To depict that. You could have just had the note, right?
How many times have we seen Baba Nakisu?
I'd rather see Baba Nakisu more than I see Kashinda.
Yeah, well, you got a couple pages.
Chill, you seem to be really against them giving him any kind of spotlight. Can you elaborate on that?
Nobody can get spotlight.
No shine.
Black Panther is the primary goal here, elevating this character, especially with the little thing where they killed the character and they're trying to diminish the value of the character T'Challa.
Killmonger, do you agree though that a hero is only as good as his villain?
So fine, we can give it to his villain, Kivu'Ma, not his villain sub-villain.
He's going to have to face several villains, not just one. And so who we call Killmonger, quote unquote, his implacable arch nemesis. Is there anybody else that can rival him?
If somebody could get there.
The worst rogues galleries.
He has a bunch of villains that somebody needs to bring together and make them into his rogues gallery, because T'Challa has a shit ton of villains. Nobody just decided to put them together.
I mean,
all those villains that he faced in Jungle Action, the supremacist from the miniseries, the Soul Strangler, Wind Eagle, even though he's dead, nobody ever stays dead in Marvel.
Where's the T-Bed?
Bruh, Jakara. Well, I ain't seen Jakara in a minute.
Like, and that's the thing. We get it lost in the sauce and everything like that.
Villains.
T'Challa has villains.
Don't use them the way you use Fantastic Four's Rose Gallery, the way you use Spider-Man's Rose Gallery. T'Challa's Rose Gallery doesn't get used like that.
The problem is that, as I said, writers come in and writers don't respect and honor the passing. There's a writer who's saying, I want to make my own villain. While we have X-Men who go, oh, I'm playing with Mystique. Oh, I'm definitely doing something with William Stryker. When I get this, I can't wait for my Apocalypse stories. Black Panther doesn't have that. They just have new writers.
That's all, and I think that is
King Cadaver, Salamander, Cruel. You know, and there are villains that can be used. We just don't use them. What happened?
And that's not wasted on cussing.
We didn't see them no more after Jungle Action. A lot of them. They popped up once in, I think, Christopher Priest run, but it was like kind of more like an homage than us actually saying we want to make an actual story about Somber or Baron Macabre or something like that.
Here's what's funny. You say all these names, and I don't remember half of them. And it goes to the point that you just made. Like, we know who the Vulture is for Spider-Man. We know who Penguin is for Batman because they pop up once a year or something like that. These are people or characters who appeared in Jungle Action that I read in 1985. I'm not going to sit up here and remember all that.
Well, can I sit up here and say that?
That's the writer's job.
Yeah.
In Wakanda 5 or Wakanda 4, the one where Okoye is on the cover, Madam Slay is in that book. Now, Madam Slay is in the book. We'll act like we don't know who Madam Slay is. Well, if I'm not mistaken, Baron Macabre was in that book as well. But you know who else was in that book? Damnedest thing. I can't even tell you why he's in there. Shocker. Now, anybody open that book, they'll know who Shocker is. Well, the thing is, Madam Slay has shown up in Iron Man. She has. But that's a T'Challa villain. Mm-hmm. The problem that we have, to everybody's point, you have these villains, you don't use them anymore. One and done, you want to come in, Killmonger, you don't respect the last person's work. Well, damn, the Joker older than me.
Yeah.
The Joker, so somebody been coming back in, rewriting this dude. It needs to be the same thing here.
Yeah.
Here's where we're getting at, and I understand the frustration when it comes about Miss Eve Ewing, Dr. Eve Ewing, Kivu'Ma, major villain, another villain though. What's going on with the villains that came before him? Because the other dude gave us, and I'm not going to even mention this stuff, but Tosin. I like Tosin. He's not a villain. He's a character with potential. Probably not going to be used again. So now, and who do we get? What was her name? Lady Nightshade. Showed up in issue 1.
Yeah. Oh, Nightshade.
Had an issue. Nightshade. Made sense to me why T'Challa is relying on her. He don't want nobody to know he's up. She keeps you off my scent. Makes sense. Are we going? But how? She's an old character that ain't being used. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so Dr. Ewing is the one to resurrect these older, retired, never been seen in years villains.
Give him a
go past issue 25.
Mold them into a coherent.
Mold them into a gallery. It's the writer's job to make the characters interesting. It's not, the character is nothing more than something on a piece of paper. It's you that's going to make this character relatable, enjoyable, whether it's a bad person or a good person. Black Panther, by and large, excusing the popular writers, he's been handled irresponsibly. He and his surrounding cast.
Yeah. The issue is multifaceted. It's the publisher, it's the writers, and it's also the audience.
The editor too.
Right.
Editor too.
Right.
That's
so
important.
It's all of them. They don't see the potential in T'Challa, and they don't give him any time to develop. They don't give him multiple runs consistently. You know, it's as the real said before. When was the last time you seen T'Challa's runs go past 25 issues?
If sales were high, they would go to 26, 7, and 8. They would.
It doesn't matter. How many Captain Marvel issues have we seen? And it's still going. How many number ones?
I don't want that repeated number one, but like we're there. They
But
made
they're
it to
pushing
15.
They're pushing it, and the sales are not there.
That's what I'm saying. It's when you said something to me, Chill, when you was like them changing the people that's on the book and everything like that. I wanted to ask you a question then. What's the sales looking like on the book?
If I go to Comic Book Revolution and they get their sales data from ICV2, you'll see that it is the 144th, according to estimates, the 144th highest selling comic book. Now let's go to Comic-Con to show you what that means. If the Black Panther issue number from August, which is what we were looking at, it was the 144th highest selling comics according to estimates. Well, back when Diamond was the only game in town in March of 2020, the 144th highest selling comic that month was Vengeance of Vampirella, and it sold 11,000 copies. 11,000 is cancellation territory. That is the territory where we don't write anymore. We don't, print anymore of these comic books. It is low. It is about to be over. And
now I want to ask this question.
According to estimates,
how many Marvel comics are on that same line with that Black Panther title?
lots.
So they finna cancel not just Black Panther, they finna cancel a whole bunch of books.
Yeah, a lot of them are actually being canceled, or their limited series were about to wrap up anyways. If we look at that,
So
at that
how
top
many
200.
I guess what I'm asking is this, because by and large, the comic book industry ain't doing that well no way.
Okay, I'll add some more context to this too. That this comic book starts off selling high. Every comic book does. And then the second issue sales get cut in half. And the third, there's another dip. And then by the fourth and fifth and sixth, we can kind of level out. This isn't done decreasing. The Black Panther comic book, because I was showing you sales data for issue number 3, not number 1 or 2. The issue 4 bump will have it out of the 200. The issue 5 bump will bring it down even lower than that. And we're on the verge of cancellation.
Hey, Chill, can you put those 2 links in the chat?
If you guys think I'm being hyperbolic, fine, I'll take that. And if everyone in the comment section wants to say, Chill, how dare you? Look, I'm just looking at things that I've noticed before. I saw Ms. Marvel get up to issue 17, and then they rebooted and canceled it, and they rebooted, and now they don't reboot anymore. And now they don't do 5-issue limited series. They do 4. Remember when it used to be like 6, then it was 5, then it was 4? There's a lot of things I'm aware of and I watch in patterns, and the Black Panther pattern is the Black Panther is going by that pattern.
Way, yeah.
It's trending that cancellation pattern. ICV2's website, they have like a relationship with a whole bunch of stores, and they get the sales data from the stores, and from them they make a guess. But they have a large sample size to make these guesses and these estimates kind of believable. It's the best we have. It's not accurate. I get it. So even when I went back now, when I said 11,000 sales is what Black Panther 144 sold, that's not exactly true. It could be 14,000. That's still pretty low.
Okay.
William says that Black Panther needs someone like Jeff Johns to come in, like he did for Green Lantern, and shake things up.
Listen, Paul and I have said for a while now that Jeff Johns would be the best writer, all due respect to Dr. Ewing, to be on this book, because Jeff Johns wrote probably one
Jeffrey
of the
Thorne?
best issues of Black Panther with the King in Black. That King in Black one shot was phenomenal. So
Okay.
yeah, I agree with that.
I may be wrong, but you said Jeff Johns and you mean Jeff Thorne.
You're absolutely correct. I mean Thorne. I mean Jeff Thorne. Yes, You're right. Yes.
And Jeff Johns is a big name. We know he was associated with.
But I meant Thorne. Yes.
Yeah, and to William, if you mean Jeff Johns, like the Justice League guy, the DC guy, yeah, I'll take him too. Any big writer I'll take. It'll tell the audience who don't really read him.
Right.
One of the main things that I really like about what he did during that time, I think he was in the New 52 run, is how he brought popularity back to Aquaman.
Yes, he
And
did.
a lot before that, before the New 52, a lot of people were talking bad about Aquaman, and
Boy,
you know,
look,
as
you
one
mean
of the
this
only
guy?
Aquaman fans during that era, you know what I'm saying, who knew what Aquaman was about, I was very happy when the New 52 run came about, because now it brought relevance back to him and it showed what he's capable of.
I was feeling bad for you. They had cut Buddy head off. I'm gonna say hand off, then turned Buddy into a monster deep down in the water. I'm like, God, man, y'all really don't like Arthur Curry, do you?
So, what do you think about Jason Momoa as Aquaman?
We're not doing that. We're here for T'Challa time.
Yeah.
So after the attention that goes to characters who are not T'Challa or T'Challa's main villain, we get Kivu'Ma. I got comics are dope. I got BJ to write in or to send in a little video. Let's play it now. What did you think about Kivu'Ma?
Okay, so I get to talk about that last page reveal. Because how sick is this? We finally get to see Kivu'Ma. And we had been teased the appearance of Kivu'Ma, or this new threat, since last issue, where Niobe is like explaining to T'Challa, look, I don't think it's just as simple as crime families taking out their rivals. I think there's a different element at play here. And when T'Challa's like, well, who is Kivu'Ma? He's like, look, don't even say that name around me anymore. I shouldn't have mentioned it. If you don't know, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. And of course, T'Challa wouldn't leave it alone. Now, it only makes sense from a writing and world building standpoint that we've gotten to this moment, even though I didn't see it coming. T'Challa has been rediscovering himself, learning more about himself by learning more about Wakanda, and especially its more forgotten parts. And that's what Burnin' T'Chaka is. I feel like I shouldn't say burn-in. I should say like Beardine, just to make it sound like more special, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, less American. But so we're learning about like the inner workings of BT, as they call it locally. And we're learning how the citizenry moves. We're learning like what crime looks like there. We're learning about the crime families and gang violence. We learn how they feel politically. So it's only right that we also learn about the supernatural element as well. And that is where we enter Kivu'Ma. Now, it's unclear. He's clearly some sort of astral projection, some kind of demon, right? It's unclear. Is he a god? Is he just like a reincarnation of some crime boss from ancient days? I don't know. But it's obvious that he is playing the role of malevolent god type creature that needs an avatar to work on his behalf. And that appears to be what Baba Nikisu is. And Baba Nikisu does not want smoke with Kivu'Ma. Let's just be real. And I think that's really cool as well, seeing this like ruthless, like street dictator cowering in the presence of this god or this demon, whatever Kivu'Ma is. Now, we can speculate on what power he might hold. If the cover to the next issue is any indicator, he might be able to possess you, like, annihilate you from the inside out, take over your thoughts. I don't know, but he appears menacing. And so I am imagining like all of the most brutal of powers. This isn't like, ask God into your heart. Nah, bro. He's going to take over. And yeah, I imagine it's going to be ruthless. And I'm excited to see what comes next. Very well done villain reveal, I got to say.
Interesting.
Smart man. Smart man.
Okay.
I would say like Kivu'Ma to me, I'm thinking about how to take him down, and taking them down also is the mystery. He is not a physical, tangible thing.
So do you think this may open up a vein for Dr. Voodoo to come in?
Oh, another character which she used.
No, Dr. Voodoo is still alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he's alive out there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so have him come to Wakanda and help him out.
That was who Monica Rambeau's husband was during Photon when she was in like the other universe. Remember that?
Just a few Beyonder
or
everything.
Yeah. Or because we ain't seen her in a minute. with Kivu'Ma being who he is, maybe this be a good time for him to holler at Bash. Just, we ain't seen in a minute.
Somebody did ask in the comments earlier, where's Bash? We haven't seen Bash yet.
God knows they didn't flirt it with her enough on the live action. Just hey, holler at her, see what she know about Kivu'Ma. She can help him out.
Yeah, it was Kimoyo Kid asking about Bast. I would like to see some Bast involvement because this is the astral plane. And then another theory I want to throw out, was it in Doom War where he creates the shadow physics thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
yes.
What does D-Real think about that?
About shadow physics? Or
being the way to combat Kivu'Ma.
If he has access to the stuff he had access to when he came up with shadow physics, absolutely. If he can create, yeah. But I mean, looking at the cover of issue number 6, yeah, he looks like he in a pickle.
Very much so.
And how does Mark feel about the way that we take down Kivu'Ma?
I think, as you pointed out, since he seems to be this mystical entity, it would make sense to have a mystic come in and help T'Challa fight. Even though he is in his own country, he is not a singular individual in all of his battles, and it's okay to ask for help. And it would be good to see some of these lesser used characters to come in and help him.
Is T'Challa still king of the dead?
I don't see why not.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just checking. And doesn't that entail being able to call upon the skills, abilities, everything else of the dead?
Watch our imaginations take us nowhere. And then the way that Kivu'Ma is
defeated. And see, that's us. We're thinking too grand. We want it to be wonderful like that, but it's going to turn out to be something very mundane. But yeah, I would like to see some of that touched upon too, because Jonathan Hickman shows a lot of love to T'Challa too.
Right. I just wouldn't mind, more often than not, when these characters have their own individual books, other heroes in that universe pop in. And so I just think it would be kind of cool to see another lesser used character like Dr. Voodoo pop in and, help him take down this mystical entity.
Yeah, we mentioned Nightshade, so Brother Voodoo is right up, or Dr. Voodoo.
Brother Voodoo, right.
He had he had a different name though. It was Dr. Voodoo. I think it is Dr. Voodoo now. Whatever it is, bro. Brother Voodoo. When
did he get demoted?
Yeah. That's the question. Again, is calling yourself
doctor regardless. He's still a doctor regardless.
He was a stand-in for Doctor Strange.
Which is why I'm gonna go with Brother Voodoo. Because if you only got that name because of the likeness of Doctor Strange, and now you're like the new Doctor Strange, then no, I don't. You're Brother Voodoo. Sam Wilson is who? Mark? Sam Wilson is?
He's currently Captain America. However, he's the Falcon.
I like that. Jason Momoa. I'm not talking about no Jason Momoa. ATL Blurred. I picked up a Vicious Cycle circle the other day. Going to read it later tonight.
You're gonna like it.
2 issues in. I think we're done here. I'm Chillmonger. Subscribe by clicking on that thing there. The thank you to Comics Are Dope for contributing. Mark has a channel, The Black Comic Explorers, where you can see him go in depth, talking about other things. Still talking about the Black Panther comic, but talking about other things. Be Real with D-Real, where edutainment is what he does. And if you're digging what he's shoveling, put some dirt in his bucket. YouTube channel there. Kaizuku Slevin, he's got a beautiful haircut. Kaizuku Slevin does. We can all enjoy it.
Man, listen, introduce that brother right. That's the smoothest monotone voice on YouTube.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, for the smoothest voice in all of the land, Kaizuku Slevin is the place to be.
That's right.
Like
you already know.
He said that's right.
The next YouTuber, IAS-IJS with Theo B. No, B period, right? That's how you spell it. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, Theo B. I ain't saying, I'm just saying.
And that's T'Challa time. Thanks everyone for joining.